غرباء غرباء غرباء.
Just a quick introduction about the Ustad. Dr Uthman Lateef. He's currently a Khatib at Stoke Podges Mosque in Slough. He presents a weekly show on Islam channel 813, The Greatest Generation, and is a speaker at mosques and university in the UK and internationally. Jazakallah khair. So without no further ado, Dr Uthman Lateef.
الحمد لله رب العالمين نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. In our world right now, we live very much in an age of images, in an age of aesthetics. We have image projections of things like human greatness. So greatness comes to be defined by the things that you see. You might remember, in fact, I don't know if you do, but Shakespeare, he once wrote and he said that, some people are born great and others achieve greatness and other people have greatness thrust upon them. But Shakespeare would never have imagined a world when you would simply have to pay a publicist to make yourself look great. And that is the age in which we live. We live in an age of aesthetics and artificiality. Artificial greatness, projections. And the best way to understand this is to think about celebrity culture. Think about the image of the celebrity. An individual who lives by an image. The image is created and then they live in that image. And that is very different to those who uphold ideals. And the ideal is not something that you create. It's something that was created by religion or history or culture throughout the ages. And then that ideal is something that you serve. It doesn't serve you, but you serve the ideal. So the first thing to understand is many of the things that we speak about, you got to divorce yourself slightly. You distance yourself from the way that you view the world. We view success and failure by images, largely. By images of success, by failure, by images of failure. When the companions of the Prophet asked him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ayyul mu'minina akyas, who is the most wise person? Who is the most sagacious, the wisest individual? And to that the Prophet replied, Aktharuhum lil mawti dhikran. The one who remembers death the most is the wisest person. Wa ashaddum isti'adadan lahu, and the one who prepares for death the most is the wisest person. So perhaps, in our minds we would think of wisdom and intelligence along different lines. About how to make the most money. And how to enjoy yourself the most. And how to do this and do that. But here the Prophet of Allah taught us something so new. That it wasn't simply about making the money and everything else. But it was about the end of everything. The end of everything is when we reach Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we have death right in the middle. That will break all of the things that we enjoy and love to enjoy and want to enjoy. And so the Prophet of Allah would say, أَكْثِرُ ذِكْرَ هَذِمِ اللَّذَّاتِ, increase in your remembrance of the very thing that will destroy your pleasures. Increase in your remembrance the very thing that will destroy all of your pleasures. So you might want to do this and you love to do that and you find them enjoyable. But remember the thing that is awaiting every single one of us that is going to destroy all of these things. And this was a matter that was at the heart of the Prophet himself and his companions, all of them. And they would come and ask him about this. And they would meet and sit and gather and discuss about their very end. About death itself. كُلُّ نَفْسٍ ذَائِقَةُ الْمَوْتِ. Every soul will taste death. That is inevitability, that nobody on earth will escape that. Every single one of us, whether it's tomorrow or day after or today or in a few years' time or decades' time, but every single one of us will experience that reality of death. And so then it gave the Prophet's companions a different framework, a different mindset. That we're not simply living for temporary enjoyment. That I will live like this because I'm going to die today or tomorrow. As if, like they say, you only live once. And based upon this paradigm, this ethos of you're only living once, that means you would therefore do whatever you want to do because you're only living once. Our perspective is entirely different. If you only live once, and it's true, but it means that you only have one chance. You only have one chance to be the best you could possibly be. Not the worst you could be. Artificial fame. Everything artificial. That there used to be a time in the 18th century, 19th century where at least you had some element of, heroism. The hero was individual. People living in societies like these, and the hero was known as being the doctor or the teacher. And they would prefer to be anonymous. Not to be famous, but to be anonymous. They would keep themselves to themselves, and people would know, well, that's where the doctor lives, and he's a great person because he's doing something for somebody. And the teacher the same. What do you have? Today you have YouTube. Right? So you want to propel yourself into this artificial greatness. You're going to do the most insane thing, outlandish thing, and video it on YouTube, and then you will get your million hits, your million views. Everybody will see you. In the words of Neil Gabler, we are the most illusioned people on earth. And our illusions are so real, we can live in them. There are our household names, our brand names. They're how we dress, how we talk, how we speak, how we behave, defined by celebrity culture. So you act the way that celebrities act. You talk like them and you dress like them and you want to be like them. But it's all a facade because it's all based on an illusion, an image creation. Like just imagine, think in your mind, if you have a celebrity and that celebrity is without the makeup artist, is without the fashion designer, is without the clothing, assistant, whatever, wearing the right clothes, is without the lighting, is without the music that accompanies his or her arrival on stage. That person fails then to be a celebrity anymore. But when all these things are in place, you become mesmerized by the whole thing. And you think, well, this looks just wonderful. And then that becomes your life pursuit. You would pursue that until the very end. You want to die in that state. This is why now it isn't simply in life, but in death itself. People want to be celebrated in death. When I was once researching, a long time ago, I was searching the most popular song that people like to be played at their funerals. And the most popular song was a song called Angel by Robbie Williams, who none of us, of course, know because we don't listen to garbage, right? Angel. So even if someone lived such an evil life whilst he was alive, could be a mass murderer, rapist, thief, could be a bad individual, but at the end of the day, he wants to be remembered like an angel. So it doesn't end, it's until death itself. But this belief that Allah explains in the Quran, قُلْ إِنَّ الْمَوْتَ الَّذِي تَفِرُّونَ مِنْهُ فَإِنَّهُ مُلَاقِيكُمْ. Say indeed the death that you're running away from, the death that you're all running away from, will meet you. مُلَاقِيكُمْ. It will meet you. It will catch up with you. The more you try and run, death is still chasing you and it's just waiting for you. The instruction that Allah gives us in the Quran is فَفِرُّوا إِلَى اللَّهِ. You know, you're supposed to run back to Allah. Rather than running away from Allah, you run back to Allah. And that's where you will find success of the Muslim. Will be in running back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There was a time when the Prophet of Allah, he said, مَنْ أَحَبَّ لِقَاءَ اللَّهِ أَحَبَّ اللَّهُ لِقَاءَهُ. Whoever loves to meet Allah, Allah loves to meet him. And whoever hates to meet Allah, Allah hates to meet him. And this was a confusing hadith for many companions. The Prophet's beloved wife, al-Mu'minin Aisha, she came along and she said, Ya Rasulullah, what does this mean? Because right now, does it mean that, I'm not ready to meet Allah right now because I need to do more good deeds? Would that mean that I would not like to meet Allah? And the Prophet then began to explain to her, no, it means, at your very end. When Abu Hurairah later on came along and he was also confused by this hadith, and so he goes to Aisha and he says, what does this mean, O Aisha? And then Aisha replied, إِذَا شَخَصَ الْبَصَرِ. When your sight is fixed, وَحَشَّجَ الصَّدْرُ وَتَقْشَعَرَ الْجِلْدِ. When your sight becomes fixed and your chest tightens, your skin tightens, and your fingers tremble. At that moment in time, whoever loves to meet Allah, Allah loves to meet him. And whoever hates to meet Allah, at that moment in time, Allah hates to meet him. Meaning it's about what is it that you're actually going to die on. You see, with all of our pursuits in life, and these are legitimate, oftentimes acceptable, and sometimes noble pursuits. You might want to be successful in dunya, which is fine. You might want to have a good house and a good job, and you might want to have good clothes. All of this is fine. But the problem would arise if that is your only pursuit. If that is the only thing that you have in your mind, I just want to have a good education and a good job and a good car and a good wife, and that's it, and I will die in that state. That's a good life lived. That is an incomplete life. Because greatness in our Islamic paradigm is in obedience to Allah. The test of life is to find Allah. If you can find Allah in your life, your whole life will completely change. If you can find Allah. And Allah is always present. But then you have to make the effort. The Sahaba, they would say things like, hasibu anfusakum. Take yourself to account. That every day, even young people, and I don't consider you guys to be young as in not understanding anything. This is why I will not speak to you in a tone of voice that is, dumbed down. We are not that generation of people. And Islam was never ever about that. But you've got to see yourself as ambitious people, see yourself as correct and clear thinking people. If there were people in the past, and we're incidentally or coincidentally remembering in this month, February and March, individuals in human history who changed history. The great sacrifice of that 22-year-old woman, Sophia Scholl, who resisted the Nazis in 1943, was killed on February 22nd, exactly 70 years ago. She was young. She wasn't a Muslim, but she did something with her life. Or Harriet Tubman, March the 10th, 1913, this is her 100-year centennial coming up, of a woman who actually did a lot of good things, who began her struggle when she was young, because she saw within herself that life isn't simply about all the temptations and distractions we have today, as if the only pursuit for a young person is to buy an iPad. And once you bought the first iPad, you've got to buy iPad 2. And then you buy that, you've got to buy iPad 3. Honestly, there were individuals, Walter Lippmann in the 1920s, when they began to write about what human beings would be like by the time 1980, 1990 comes along. He gave them a name, the bewildered herd. We were always supposed to be a bewildered herd. And he says at best there will be people of spectacle. Right? Like Julius Caesar would say, give them bread and give them the circus. And that is it. That is all you would need to give them. If you just give them bread, they can feed themselves, and the circus, and they're seeing entertainment all the time, that is enough for them. And so today, what is it? That we will have our bread and we will have cable TV, satellite TV, and hundreds of channels, and hundreds of things to watch on YouTube, and the iPad, and the phone, and so many things, and you think, well, that is it. I've kind of found civilization within my room. You might remember Fahrenheit 451. I'm telling you this because even non-Muslims, had an understanding slightly in some of these things. Who wrote his book Fahrenheit 451.